What happens when the bridge is missing? Today, we're gonna keep increasing the gap until it doesn't work. We're starting with 16-inch Brompton tires and going all the way up to 36-inch wheels, and we're gonna test different tire volumes and suspension. Let's start at the beginning at 3 inches with a 16-inch Brompton tire. 3 inches on the Brompton. That felt like nothing. Let's increase it by 1 inch. What difference could 1 inch make? Not much. I feel like we're gonna find the straw that broke the camel's back, and we're gonna move this thing to a certain distance, and it's gonna get violent. 5 inches. 6 inches. Let's increase this to 7. 7 inches. All right, we're getting somewhere now. Let's step it up to 8. I felt the handlebars like flex forwards when that happens, but we're still rolling over it just fine, and so we're gonna go up. 9, here goes. As we move to different wheel sizes, I think we're gonna have to count by 2. 10 inches on a Brompton folding bicycle. 1 good crank. I almost felt like I was getting stopped dead there. We're getting close to the limit here. Before we literally turn this up to 11, I understand there are other ways to get over a gap. Like I could just pedal and kind of unweight my front wheel and do that. This is a seated rolling test. You can see what we're trying to do here. Like if you were to just roll into a pothole and you didn't know it was there. So let's turn it up to 11. 11. I'm kind of surprised it made it over. I thought I was gonna stop dead in just violence. Let's turn it up to 12. Okay, 1 foot, 12 inches. That's like 30 centimeters. Let's do it. Oh, okay. Yeah, it felt like I don't want to do that to my Brompton anymore. So I'm unsure that we learned anything yet. That's 75% of the wheel diameter, 12-inch gap, 16-inch wheel. So are we gonna find that things start to get too violent with every wheel in that range? This is a Brompton G-Line, and so it's got 20-inch wheels, little higher volume. Let's see how this guy does on the 12-inch gap. Let's do it. That was a lot more doable. Way more doable. So let's keep this moving and double it up as the tires get bigger. We're gonna go straight from 12 to 14. Yeah, that's where we wanna be. 14. No way this goes well. All right. I know we're counting by 2s here, but 15 would be 75% the diameter. Right, look at how violent it is when the tire hits here. And on the 16-inch Brompton, 75% of the diameter is when it just felt like we couldn't go any further. And so it's only right that we test the Brompton G-Line, 20 inches at a 15-inch gap. All right, we're choosing violence today. Let's do it. That almost stopped me dead. It's time to step up to a bigger wheel. We're gonna go to a 26-inch mountain bike wheel like they had in the old days. These wheels are so small, you don't find them on trail bikes anymore, but look at where we started with this 16-inch Brompton tire. I think this is gonna go over a considerably larger gap, I'm betting 75% a 26-inch wheel. Just for an apples to apples comparison, let's ride this over the 15-inch gap. We also have suspension now. I'm curious as to how that's going to affect things. All right, let's go. Wow. That was easy, and I think the suspension had a lot to do with it. So to test this hypothesis, 75%, I'm gonna just step this up to 20 inches. That's a little bit over 75%, but we have the suspension. Why go inch by inch in between? We know it's gonna make it. Oh. This looks insane, but we gotta trust science. Who are we kidding? No real science has been done yet. 20 inches. That really felt like it stopped me dead, but it made it over. It felt like the 16-inch, and it felt like the 20-inch when they were at their max. So let's increase the wheel size to 27.5. Not too long ago, this was the predominant wheel size for mountain bikes, 27.5. Now it's 29, and it looks like 32 is on the horizon, but I didn't do any tests before this video. I just built the thing, and I'm genuinely surprised that these bikes can just roll over it, because at high speed, if a bike were to go over this, it wouldn't descend into the chasm as much, and it would probably go over it, but we don't have any space to get up speed, and so it's really a seated rolling test, and we're able to make it. I don't think this bike is gonna give us any problems at 20 inches. 20-inch gap, 27.5-inch wheels, oodles of suspension. This is gonna be no problem. It didn't feel like a problem, like the suspension soaked up so much of it, but the wheel really slowed the bike down. Let's step it up by 2 inches. So here's where we run into our first problem. We're only at 27.5 and I've reached the end here, and so we have to actually drill more holes, maybe even get a longer piece of wood. Wow, good problem to have. All right, new board, whole new set of holes over here. We're gonna start at 21 inches because that is actually over 75% the diameter of 27.5 wheels. Okay, 21 inches, no problem. It was violent, but I feel like it's thirsty for more. This thing has so much suspension. And so actually, before we step it up, I got another test that I really don't want to do. So up until now, I've been testing this kind of half-baked 75% theory, and if that holds true, this wheel should have no problem with this gap. It's actually slightly larger diameter. But here's the thing. This bike has high volume tires. This bike has a ton of suspension, and it's an enduro bike, and so the entire geometry is different. My weight is more towards the back of the bike. The front wheel doesn't get as big of an impact. This is a gravel bike. You're way out over the handlebars. It has skinny little tires, and there's no suspension. And so before I make this any wider, I have to see if the gravel bike can make it over, because actually, we're kind of right at 75% for the gravel bike, and if what I've been saying holds true, it should make it over. All right, let's get this over with. I'm gonna hold on to the top of the bars to try and get my weight a little further back. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, there are real consequences to this. Yeah. It may be no surprise to you that there's air hissing out of this tire. It didn't like that. The rim seems okay, probably thanks to the softness of the wood. We're not gonna do that anymore. We're not gonna make these any wider for this wheel. What about a really fat tire? The Surly Moonlander has big fat tires, and actually the diameter is very similar to this. It might even be a little bit bigger. And the geometry is a little better for this. I'll be sitting further back. Yeah, no more gravel bike. No more gravel bike. Let's step it up to the Moonlander. All right, if the 75% theory is correct, then the same thing would happen here on this Surly Moonlander, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think that tire volume and geometry actually have a lot to do with clearing a gap like that. I don't feel scared. I don't feel like I'm about to go over the handlebars. I feel like this is just going to roll right over it. I got the tires pumped way up too. Very bumpy, but no problem. I did not feel like I was gonna go over the handlebars. Let's go up by an inch and play around with it. Maybe we could even decrease the tire pressure if we have a problem there. Okay, 22 inches, let's do it. Oh! It just punches back at you. These tires, I mean, they squish down and they just beat you to death, but it had no problem. We're still not at 75% the diameter. Best I can measure, these are like 30.5, and so we actually have to go up 1 more inch to get there. Let's give it a try. Okay, 23 inches. We're at every bit of 75% the diameter now. Let's go. Okay, that really felt like I got punched in the stomach, but before we call this the limit, what happens if we reduce the tire pressure? It could damp things a little bit and make it go smoother. I'm not gonna go too low for reasons that should be obvious. Okay, 9 PSI. I don't wanna go much lower than that or else I'm gonna be lacing a new rim onto this thing. 9 PSI, let's go. You know what? It did feel better. Can we go lower than 9? Every pound matters when you're down that low. Let's bring it down to 7. Okay, 7 PSI. Let's go. You know, that honestly didn't feel like a meaningful difference from the 9 PSI, but I don't want to go any lower. Let's bump it up an inch. I really want to find the limit here. We're moving this up to 24 inches. That just feels wrong. Like, the entire Brompton G-Line wheel can fit inside of here. I just get the feeling that this is the straw that broke the camel's back, or it could be. Let's go, 24 inches. I wouldn't want to go higher than that. We need to try something now. We skipped right over the 29er, and yeah, the diameter is about the same as those Surly tires, but we have suspension now. What works better, high volume tires at low pressure or suspension? I don't have a good feeling about this. 24 inch gap on a mountain bike with 29 inch wheels. Let's do it. That didn't go nearly as bad as I thought it would. It was violent, but the suspension soaked it up. It might even be better than the Moonlander. This is nuts. 25 inches. Pretty soon, the tire's gonna be touching the ground. I didn't think in a million years we'd be out this far. I thought long ago we would have reached the limit. Let's get it over with. Some awesome suspension. That, I wouldn't want to go further than that. I think it would stop me dead. You see, when I slowed down and my rear tire went in, it really did almost stop me dead. I don't want to go any further than 25 inches unless I just want to guarantee going over onto my face. But clearly, suspension is more important than just straight up diameter or tire volume. But what happens if we have no suspension but huge wheels? 36-inch wheels. This bike's gonna have no problem going over this hole, but as it gets bigger, this could be a problem. As we established, suspension matters. This is a fully rigid mountain bike. They don't make suspension for bikes this big, and so let's give it a shot and see how it goes. Yeah, sometimes you gotta trust science. If we go from 25 to 27, we are at 75% the diameter, and that should get us pretty close to the limit. Okay, let's put things into perspective. 27-inch hole, 26-inch mountain bike wheel. That's like purpose designed to make you go over the handlebars. Now, that's not really something I'm that worried about on any of these bikes. As you saw with the gravel bike, when I went over the handlebars, I more or less landed on my feet, and that's because I'm expecting this hole here, and so I'm prepared. I can get over the handlebars of a bike, special training throughout my childhood. But I'm not doing this on a 26-inch bike. Let's get the 36er out. Okay, 27 inches on the dirty 6er with 36-inch wheels. Let's do it. Yeah, that jostled me to where I couldn't even ride off the end here, but yeah, it worked. Let's go up by an inch. Let's just do one more inch. Oh yeah, 28 inches. All right, let's put things into perspective. This is a 29er. It is on the ground, sitting in between. It's not quite the diameter of the entire wheel, but it is sitting on the ground. Dirty 6er. This morning, I did not think I would be standing here pedaling into a 28-inch gap. But let's do it. It should be violent, but it should work. Oh! Oh man, that's the limit. I don't care to increase it, but I want to show you something. So we're back on the 26-inch mountain bike, same gap, 28 inches. My point is you can make it over a gap if you know it's coming. So what does this test even measure? What does it even tell us? Well, it actually tells us a lot. First of all, diameter matters. We've seen improvements across the board as we step up diameter, but suspension matters also. Diameter did not help us on the gravel bike. The geometry there was actually the limiting factor because my weight was further forwards. And so what we're really measuring here is what kind of bike and tire, if you were caught by surprise and didn't have time to pull up or do something about it, which one would send you over the handlebars? Now, speed, approach speed, is important too. I pretty much know that the higher the speed you are going, the better the chance you're gonna make it over it and survive it. But the higher the consequences if you don't. If you're going a low speed, there's a very good chance it's gonna be violent and you might not make it over, but the consequences are lower because you're going a lower speed. And so the worst and best case scenario just separate as you increase speed. That's why I made these really short. I could have gone longer and we could have gotten up a lot of speed for these, but the consequences would have been much higher and we'd probably be blowing out wheels. So at a moderate speed, if caught by surprise, you want as large a diameter as possible and you want some suspension for sure. But diameter matters and we can actually go up from here. Thanks for riding with me today, and I'll see you next time.